Hey everyone, this is Chris and welcome to Unwanted Tutorials. Unwanted Tutorials is a loose collection of how-to, hands-on, decidedly irreverent videos in which I aim to enable you to create engaging content using DCS's hellish creation tools. Today we are looking at basic unit management. Just like in the last tutorial, I'll strive to be a model of restraint and only call attention to outrageously silly things, as I believe that we have gotten used to Mission Editor's rock-bottom quality. Unit management is one of, if not the most important tasks, and so today we turn our attention to how creators can add, change and remove units from groups. As I mentioned before, all units must belong to a group, and in DCS, naval units belong to naval groups, ground units belong to ground groups, etc. All units inside a group are numbered starting with 1. The group's first unit is the lead unit, and some surprising, of course, special handling applies to it. You start a group by placing the first unit of that group, and that unit defines the kind of group. I want to create a naval group, so we start by placing a boat. To create a naval group, click on the ship on the left, then choose a country on the right. I am using Combined Joint Blue, which gives me access to all types and makes the new group member of the blue faction. I am choosing FFG Oliver Hazard Perry as type and then click into Open Water. A round DD marker appears, which normally means a World War II era destroyer. Mission Editor unhelpfully uses some incorrect and silly pseudo-NATO notations. It would help if it used some meaningful icons instead, not wannabe military notations, but I digress. The right sidebar populates with controls for naval unit and group management. The very first thing that you must do is click on the Edit button at the bottom of the group control bar, because, stupidly, Mission Editor has switched into Add Waypoint mode, and any click on the map is interpreted as adding new waypoints. Switch to Edit mode to stop that. So we are in Edit mode and our group of 1 Oliver Perry class ships is floating in the Black Sea. Let's zoom in and add a couple of ships. For this we must use what I call the clown controls. Its name derives from the fact that it is the idiotic result of someone completely unfit to design an interface. Whoever did this simply banged together some interface elements and goofily hoped that their in-app bungling somehow resulted in a usable interface. The result is something that, just by existing, makes Mission Editor worse. Creating something like that should be an immediate firing offense for any UX designer and their boss. Publishing it should also end the career of the QA head, because they are worthless. This UX abomination brings together functions to select the next unit in the group, select the previous unit in the group, increase group size by adding new units, and decreasing group size by removing units. The idea isn't bad. The execution, however, is abysmal. Let's take a closer look before we try to use this inside Mission Editor. The clown control is comprised of a number of elements. It starts with the label unit, followed by an edit text field that contains a left and right pointing chevron, followed by a number. This is the unit selection control. Clicking on the left pointing chevron selects the previous unit by number. For example, if we have unit 3 selected, number 2 is selected. The controls on the sidebar update with the newly selected unit's data. If unit 1 is already selected, nothing happens. Note that there is no visual feedback to your action. Mission Editor does not move the newly selected unit into view, so it is entirely possible that you cannot see which unit you have now selected. I strongly advise against trusting that you know which unit is now selected. Always make sure that you see the unit that you're working on. Clicking on the right pointing chevron selects the next higher unit in the group. If the highest number unit is already selected, nothing happens. Note that you can also click on a group's units on the map to select them. I strongly recommend that you use your mouse to select units, because that way you can actually see what you have selected. And as before, Mission Editor stupidly does not move the chevron selected unit into view. So the only way to be sure that you have selected this correct unit is by first moving it into view and then clicking on it with the mouse. To the right of the unit number is where the brain rot gets acute. Before we go on, another observation. The only way to add units to a group is by using this clown control. In Mission Editor, you first copy an existing unit and then edit the copy until it fits your needs. Yup, idiotic, I know. The clowns at ED, it seems, have never heard of click and drag. Then there are two buttons, one labeled plus, the other minus. Note that semantically the buttons appear before the word off, so you'd be forgiven to think that these controls also control the selected unit. But no, that would require half a brain, and that seemingly is too optimistic to hope for in ED's UX team. You'll find that these buttons have a completely different function. The plus button creates a copy of the currently selected unit, positions it nearby, and inserts its number before the currently selected unit. This will break your flow and possibly ruin your mission, because the first unit in each group is special, and when you click on plus with unit 1 selected, you have just introduced a subtle change to your group's lead unit that you are guaranteed to discover too late. The minus button deletes the currently selected unit from the mission. All units with a higher number move down. There are no holes in the group's numbering. Remember that there is no undo. Once you have deleted a unit, it's gone. So if you needed one, here's another reason to select a unit by hand, not via chevron. And then we come to the really stupid part. The word off followed by two more chevrons and a number. That number tells you the total number of units in the group. And the chevrons are so baffingly stupid that I initially thought that someone was pulling my leg. The left pointing chevron removes the last, highest numbered unit from the group and completely ignores which unit is currently selected. Yeah, let's violate another common UX convention. The right pointing chevron creates a copy of the currently selected unit and appends it as the last unit in the group. To try and mitigate the damage, whenever we have to use the clown control, I will manually select the unit and then use the plus button to add a copy and the minus button to delete the selected unit. Yes, this will introduce problems, as you'll see. It's the price I pay to stay away from the two chevrons on the right side. Because no undo. Goodness gracious, how can a design team be that inept? I feel that it tells me a lot about a company who allows trash like this to get into the hand of their customers. To me, it ranks of contempt. But hey, Seafrick, you might say, don't be so negative. Good interface is hard. So how could ED have resolved this better? And you would be right. Interface is hard. That's why you don't let bozos do the job. With the clown control, there are millions of ways to do it better. Here's a trivial design based on existing Mission Editor controls that took me about a minute to design. What pains me is the fact that if someone like me can so effortlessly come up with a better design, how much better could Mission Editor be if Eagle Dynamics started using people who know what they are doing? So, Eagle Dynamics, there is a simple way to prove that your name stands for quality. Make it less obvious that you don't give a damn about content designers and improve Mission Editor's quality. Because right now, I think that it's abysmally bad, amateurish trash, and it badly stains your reputation. It shows us what kind of worthless dreck your people are putting in customers' hand. And for good measure, I include the quick action generator in this. Dreck. Okay, deep breaths. Let's put this atrocity to work. We currently have a naval group consisting of one Perry-class destroyer, and I want to build this into a carrier group. My carrier group should consist of one carrier, 2 missile cruisers, 2 destroyers, and 1 submarine. A total of 6 vessels. My first action is to expand the group to contain 6 vessels. I do this by reconfirming that we are in waypoint edit mode. Then I make sure that I have selected the first unit in the group and that the map is centered on it. I then click on the plus button 5 times. See how each time a new unit is added in front and the strange 1 moves up to the newly added unit. Note that this detail will bite you in the ass. Here I'm consciously using it in ways that will probably take you years to learn. We now have a naval group consisting of 6 units, all of them a Perry-class missile frigate, which is a small destroyer. We now want to customize the group. Note that unit number 1 is still selected even though its name now ends in 6. Note also that although it is selected, the first unit in our group is not highlighted in yellow. Yeah, another bug. Again, verify that you are in waypoint edit mode and click on the unit that has the 1 next to it, the unit that you added last. Click on Type and choose CVN 74 John C. Stennis. The unit becomes an aircraft carrier. Change the name to Stennis, then change the radio to 130 MHz. This is the frequency that aircraft use to contact the Stennis' tower. We'll add planes and eye candy later, just make it a habit to change a carrier's frequency immediately. Now, using the map, click on the second unit. We leave it as it is our first destroyer. Leave its radio at 127.5 MHz and change its name to Perry. We move on to the third unit. Change that type to a Burke-class destroyer and change the name to Burke. Moving on to the fourth ship, we changed that type to CG Ticonderoga, a guided missile cruiser. Note that its symbol is CC, some trashy version of NATO-esque symbology. Its true NATO designation, that would be CG. Change the name to Tycho. We changed the fifth ship to another Ticonderoga class and name it Roji. The last unit we want to turn into a submarine. Since DCS currently supports only a poor selection of submarines, we choose an SSK 636 Improved Kilo. We can choose the Kilo only because we are combined joint. If you aren't combined joint, Mission Editor will not give you access to a Kilo if you are blue. And our naval group is now complete. My next task is to move the units around a bit to set their formation. The carrier is going to be the central unit, while I place the other units around it. I position one of the Perrys some 3/4 of a mile aft of the Stennis as help for carrier-based players. After we are done arranging the units around the Stennis, zoom out until you can see the outer yellow rings. These are the maximum weapon ranges, and it's important that you keep an eye on this to avoid unintended engagements. There'll be a separate tutorial on how to manage your group's actions. And I just realized that time flies when you're blowing your stack. We'll look at other unit management soon. Until then, have fun and take care.